everybody, and welcome to Bandwagon Sports. I am your host, Cade Navarro, and we have ourselves a Bandwagon Tuesday show. This is our first show of 2024. I want to wish you a happy new year, and that this 2024 is an amazing year for everybody, for sports, for people's health, for people's money, for anything. So, I want to thank y'all for being here with me. I want to thank y'all for having me. Thank you for tuning in. This year is going to be amazing. We will be hitting it hard. We will be hitting it Monday through Friday, every day, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And we are going to grow this channel exponentially. Hopefully, we have multiple viewers tuning in, multiple people typing in the chat, giving us questions, debating with us, doing all these different things. That would be my dream. But we have a lot of action to unfold from this past weekend. We have bowl games, we have NFL football, playoff implications, we have college football semi-final games. We have a bunch of news going on, people going to the draft, people transferring out of places, people not playing at all, people getting blown out, people clinching playoff spots, people getting eliminated from playoffs. We have it all. So, without further ado, let's hop into the action. We're going to go over some bowl games that happened. So we last talked on Thursday. We had Thursday night football on. We had a bunch of Thursday bowl games. We gave our Wagon of the Week picks for those. I think we also gave our picks for the college football semifinals. So let's kind of look at this action right here. Our Thursday games, we had Arizona, number 14, taking on Oklahoma. This was a cool matchup as we had the Pac-12, Arizona. I don't even know what their logo or what their mascot is, but Arizona, University of Arizona. Wildcats maybe? Something like that. We have them taking on Oklahoma. So we got the new Big 12 Arizona team facing off against an old Big 12 team. Oklahoma not having their starting quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, him transferring to Oregon. We also had Arizona. We had Arizona's quarterback absolutely going off. This was actually a really cool matchup. And me, as a Texas fan, you know we hate the Sooners. So we had Fifita going for 354 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And then Arnold, I think it's Jackson Arnold, yep. Old Jackson Arnold, their hopes for this guy at Oklahoma. They think highly of him. But Jackson Arnold, 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Crazy game here. I guess you got Sawchuk for OU with 15 carries, 134 yards and a touchdown. And then B. Thompson with 2 receptions, 83 yards and a touchdown. This was a very high explosive game. We had Oklahoma up early, as we can see here. They were up, 14 probably. Yeah, they were up by a lot. Not a lot, but they were up by a little. And Arizona taking it away in that fourth quarter, and them showing that, hey, they are going to be a problem in this new Big 12. Obviously, not a lot of people, or some people out for Oklahoma, but this was a good win for the old Arizona Wildcats, and it's showing that, hey, they might be a problem here in the Big 12. So you're probably not going to want to see Arizona, and they might be taking over the Big 12. They might be the new powerhouse. They might be the new Texas OU of the Big 12. So we got them transferring in. You got Arizona State transferring in. You got Utah transferring in. Utah and Arizona could be some scary programs. We also had Kansas State taking on NC State. We had, Kansas State's, what is this? Avery Johnson, having himself a game. 178 yards, 2 touchdowns. This is really a big running game right here, as we see both running backs with a ton of carries, with a ton of yards and touchdowns. Kansas State, the old Big 12 team, taking down the Wolfpack. This was a fun game to watch. We also got, this was actually a really good day of football. And then we had SMU taking on Boston College. We got Boston College at 7-6 taking on 11-3 SMU. You would think SMU would humble them. I think maybe they were the favorites. I could be wrong. But Boston College coming up big, taking down SMU. SMU will be in the ACC this next year. So Boston College taking them down and showing them, hey, this ACC isn't going to be as easy as you think it is. It's not as easy as everyone said it was when Florida State didn't make it. So SMU, we'll see how they fare in the ACC this next year, but not a good start with only 14 points in the second quarter. That was it. Wow. And then we had Rutgers taking down old Miami. Miami having a very good recruiting class this year. I think top 5. So maybe they don't have some of the players in that they're going to have this next year, but Miami not looking too good in this one, and Rutgers getting the victory 31-24. Our Friday action, we had Missouri taking on Ohio State. This was a very, very boring game. We had Kyle McCord out. You had Marvin Harrison Jr. not playing for Ohio State. Kyle McCord transferring to Syracuse, and Maserati Marv probably going to declare to the draft. And then for Missouri, I think you had everybody. But Cooks, their quarterback, was doing it on the ground, rushing for a ton of yards. And this was really just a running game, very slow defensive game. But Missouri Tigers take down Ohio State and hold them to 3 points. I think this was the least amount of points that they've scored since 2016 or something. So Ohio State obviously having some big transfers coming in, some big recruiting coming in. I think them having one of the best classes, some of the most 5-star athletes. So obviously they will be a problem. I think we saw, I think it's Will Howard or something like that from Kansas State was looking at transferring here. Ohio State, they're going to be a problem. There's no problem for them. We'll have to see how they fare against Michigan this next year. And Pac-12 and Oregon, man, holy shoot, they're going to have to take on a lot of those Pac-12 teams. Washington, Oregon, I don't know if they'll be on their schedule. I don't know what their schedules look like yet, but hey, some really cool matchups coming up for them with all the changes that are going on. But Missouri, them getting a huge win and ending their season 11-2. That is a monster win. They'll probably finish, I guess, top 7. So good win for them. Good win for their program. They used to be the schmuck of the SEC, but now, hey, this year they're looking pretty solid. I think their only 2 losses, I think one of the losses was to Georgia, and they actually played them very well. The other one was probably a bad loss, but good season for the Missouri Tigers. Oregon State, Notre Dame just rolling through Oregon State. You have DJ transferring out, and actually DJ Youngavaloe, however you say his name, is transferring to Florida State. So with all these people not wanting to play in the Florida State-Georgia game, and I think there was over 21 players that didn't want to play, either transferring out or declaring to the draft. But you're seeing, hey, some big dudes going there. He is, let's see, he went to Clemson and then went to Oregon State, and then now he's at Florida State. So he is really taking advantage of that transfer portal. But we should see DJ as Florida State quarterback this next year, unless they got other quarterbacks coming in. But Notre Dame taking them down. Notre Dame will also have Riley Leonard this next year, so that'll be cool stuff right there. But Notre Dame ending their season 10-3, not too shabby. Them having some big losses. I think one was Ohio State. I don't remember who the other ones were. Let's check it out. So they've lost to Ohio State, Louisville, Clemson. Probably should have taken down Clemson and Louisville, but good stuff there. And then we have Clemson, Kentucky. Clemson taking down Kentucky. The ACC actually doing very well in these bowl games, taking down Kentucky. So this was one of those matchups where they were like, hey, the ACC isn't as easy as you think it is. So 9-4 Clemson taking down Kentucky. Very close game though. Wow, Clemson scoring 28 points in the fourth quarter. Some incredible stuff there. We'll see. Hey, we'll see if Clemson bounces back this next year with the brand new ACC and the brand new college football playoff and just brand new college football landscape. So we'll see there. Iowa State taking on Memphis. Memphis getting a big win over a Power 5 conference team. Wow, Memphis coming out swinging, 19 points in that first quarter, getting a big lead in that third quarter. So Memphis holding out, winning the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. And then we had action from Saturday. I was in attendance. I don't know if you saw my story or not, but I was at the Ole Miss Penn State game for the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia. Ole Miss takes down Penn State as the Dogs, and they absolutely have a monster game. Caden Prieskorn, I think he was the offensive MVP with 10 receptions, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think he had like 4 or 5 one-handed catches. The dude was just going off. So good stuff there. We had Quentin Johnsons with over 100, Quentin Judkins with over 106 or over 100 yards. With 34 carries, wow. And then Jackson Dart slinging it for 376 yards, 379 yards and 3 touchdowns. So Ole Miss offense absolutely rolling, and I think Penn State had a last-minute score right here, but this was an absolute domination of a game, and it was good to be an Ole Miss fan. So good stuff from Ole Miss, ending the season 11-2. Their only 2 losses were to Alabama and Georgia. So some good losses on the season. If they can pull one of those off, hey, they're going to be in contention for those top spots and maybe even an SEC championship. So keep it up, Ole Miss. Penn State. I don't know. They gotta do something. And then we had old Maryland and Auburn. Maryland with Tuli Tagovailoa taking down Auburn Tigers pretty handedly. So Big Ten team taking down an SEC team. I'm sure Tuli had an incredible performance. Let's check it out. Wow. So we actually did not have Tuli Tagovailoa in. I don't know if he is declaring in the draft or what. If he's hurt. Maryland Terrapins taken down. Auburn Tigers. Auburn actually, let's see their record. 6-7. They actually played some teams very well. They almost beat Bama. I think they played a really good game against Georgia as well. So Auburn, very solid program. They're just not pulling out those victories. But Maryland stomping them. So wow. And then we had Toledo, Wyoming for the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl. This looks like a very boring game, but Wyoming taking down Toledo. And then we had Florida State playing Georgia Bulldogs. Like I said, we had 21 people out for Florida State. We thought they were going to want to prove to everybody that, hey, we got snuffed. Like, we should have been in the college football playoff. So we're going to come out here and hit Georgia hard. We're going to punch them in the mouth, show them what is up. But no, they did not. 21 of their guys out. Second string quarterback, as we talked about, transferring out or entering the transfer portal, so him not playing. So we had third string quarterback Brock Glenn for Florida State, and them not having any offense at all, only scoring a field goal in that second quarter. And then we had Georgia absolutely dominating on offense. I mean, just look at this. They scored 21 times the points that Florida State scored. Are they 21 times the team that Florida State was? Probably, because Florida State was probably playing all their backups, second strings, third strings, whatever. But a statement by Georgia saying, hey, we got snuffed out of this college football playoff too. We should have been in it. We are one of those teams. But Georgia winning back-to-back bowl games by like 60 points, something crazy. I think I have a visual over here, maybe. But that is 2 wins where they have scored at least 60 points, as they won the national championship against TCU last year, and they scored an insane amount of points. Let's see, I don't think I can find that right here. But that is back-to-back bowl game dominations. So Georgia showing that, hey, we should have been in this. But when we touch on our college football action, we had some very close games. So that is what they wanted. They wanted 4 teams playing incredible ball against each other. So we'll see if the finals is the same way. Can't find it here. But wow, Georgia and Carson Beck coming back this next year. So we'll see Carson Beck coming back. We'll see Travis Etienne going to Georgia, number 1 running back transfer in the transfer portal, going to Georgia. So big stuff happening for Georgia, obviously. I think the number 1 recruiting class in the nation. So Georgia will be in that top contention again this next year, and will probably make the 12-team playoff, I would imagine. We'll see if they get a bye first round, if they win the SEC, but that is going to be a tough Georgia Bulldog team. Florida State also bringing some people in. I think a lot of people decommitting now from Florida State, so we'll see if Florida State's even in contention this next year. So with all these lawsuits and with all the stuff happening, it looks like people are wanting to get out of Florida State. Sad stuff there. And then on our New Year's Day games, we had Liberty taking on Oregon. Liberty coming out, punching them in the mouth, scoring a touchdown on their first drive. It looking like, hey, this Conference USA team is going to play some good ball against Oregon. But Bo Nix, he had other thoughts on that. So Bo Nix throwing 5 touchdowns for 363 yards, and them dominating the Conference USA champs and undefeated 13-0 Liberty, whatever they are, Hawks, something, 45-6. So Oregon's only 2 losses to Washington. This will be Bo Nix's last college football game. Bo Nix has just been an incredible athlete, and he has been so fun to watch. But this will be the last time that we see him in college football. Hopefully we see him in the league slinging it. He was one of the Heisman finalists, and I think he probably deserves a spot on some NFL team. So he will, I guess, be declaring for the draft. The Liberty gets smashed. They only score that 1 touchdown on that first drive. Good stuff, Bo Nix. Shout out to you, your college football career. we had Wisconsin taking on LSU. No Jaden Daniels. I don't think any Malik neighbors, but LSU taking down Wisconsin in a close one, it looks like. LSU Tigers winning the ReliaQuest Bowl, whatever it is. And them, maybe with their next quarterback, who knows, this Nuss Merrier dude, but we'll see. Whoever this guy is, he was slinging it. So with these people declaring for the draft, like Caleb Williams, like Jaden Daniels, these people, we're starting to see, hey, maybe these people step in behind them and be the face of the team this next year. So them getting some reps. I guess we saw it with Oklahoma too, with old Jackson Arnold. But Miller Moss, Jackson Arnold, and we have this Nuss Merrier dude, whatever this guy is, but him throwing 3 touchdowns for 395 yards and only 1 interception. That's a hell of a game for stepping in for old Jaden Daniels. And then we had old Tennessee Volunteers beating the Iowa Hawkeyes 35-0. I think there was a post about the Iowa punter and him setting a punting record for most punt yards in a season. So it's crazy that, hey, Iowa's best player was their punter. That is pretty funny. The Iowa Hawkeyes obviously haven't had much of an offense. I think they were winning games, only scoring like 15, sometimes 12 points. So them just really having a good defense. But Tennessee, with their new quarterback, we talked about Joe Milton is also declaring for the draft. So this guy right here, old Nico Iamaleava, going off, throwing for 312 yards. Is that what that said? Oh no, 151 yards, 1 touchdown. Interesting stuff. But Tennessee winning the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, them having a decent season, them being such a big program that, hey, they gotta do better this next year. But that's gonna do it for the bowl games. So we also had yesterday, we had the college football semifinal matchups. We had Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the number 1 Michigan Wolverines, and we had number 3 Texas taking on number 2 Washington Huskies. Huge matchups, some very good games, one going into overtime, another one coming down to the last play of the game. This is what the College Football Committee wanted. They wanted close games. They didn't want a Georgia TCU blowout game where people are tuning out midway. They want people tuning in. They want these close matchups. So that had to have been the script. But some monster games. Our first matchup, we had Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the Michigan Wolverines. I think Alabama scoring first. Jalen Milroe, 16 for 23 for 116 yards. Chase McClellan, he was the one that ran the first touchdown in. 14 carries, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns, great performance. Isaiah Bond, 4 receptions, 47 yards. Then we had J.J. McCarthy for the Michigan Wolverines, 17 for 27, 221 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then we had Blake Corum going off, 19 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown. And then R. Wilson with 4 receptions, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Wow, this is a cool visual. But Michigan Wolverines coming back, answering the first touchdown. Go 7-7 into the second quarter. Michigan kicking 2 field goals. I think scoring a touchdown actually, and then missing their extra point. And then Alabama kicking a monster field goal for like 50 yards. Alabama's kicker, I think, also breaking records, doing his thing. Alabama kicker hitting 2 monster field goals. I think like a 50-yarder and a 52-yarder. So very clutch kicking from him. Third quarter, no action, absolutely nothing happening. And then the fourth quarter, it just turned up. Alabama scores a touchdown, takes the lead. Michigan scoring, taking the lead, and then I think Alabama coming and kicking a field goal or something, and them tying. No, actually, they go up 7 points with the field goal, hitting the monster field goal, and then Michigan with a monster drive after having no offense going in that third and fourth quarter, and them coming back, scoring, and taking this game into overtime. So I think maybe the second, or I don't know how many times this happened, but only a few times going into overtime for a college football semifinal game. So this was electric. 2 monster fan bases at the Rose Bowl. I think these are the 2 winningest programs in college football. Michigan Wolverines getting their 1,000th win this season. Alabama Crimson Tide sitting at that number 2 spot. So this was just a crazy game. But we go into overtime. I think Bama wins the coin toss. They defer. Michigan comes out, I think, with 2 runs, and Blake Corum gets into the end zone. So Blake Corum having a monster performance. And then Alabama gets the ball on their drive. They drive to I think the 4-yard line. And then with the game on the line, 4th down with 3 yards to go, Jalen Milroe goes for the end zone and gets snuffed. And the Michigan Wolverines take down Alabama Crimson Tide, and they win their first ever college football semifinal game. So after 2 showings and losing their first matchups, they finally win a college football semifinal game and take down Alabama Crimson Tide, who they have not beat since they had Tom Brady as quarterback. So it had been a long time since old Alabama had lost to the Michigan Wolverines. Also, Alabama was 66-0 when scoring the first touchdown in a game. And now 66-1, Michigan Wolverines get the job done. Michigan coming out, winning the line of scrimmage at the beginning of this game, having 5 sacks in the first half. I think only having 1 or 2 in the second half, but incredible showing from Michigan Wolverines. They look like that number 1 team, and they take down the 12-1 Alabama Crimson Tide. So the undefeated team winning this matchup with a crazy overtime matchup right here between 2 historic programs. So if you're a college football fan, this is what you want to see. This is what you want to like. It doesn't get better than this. And then we had my old Texas Longhorns taking on the Washington Huskies. This being a rematch from last year's bowl game when the Washington Huskies took down Texas Longhorns. But Washington Huskies getting the better of the Texas Longhorns. Let's see. First half, we had Washington with a bomb on the first drive. Michael Penix Jr., I guess he's lefty, launching it downfield. And I think it was Polk. Polk was just destroying us. Getting to like the 2-yard line or something, and then them punching it in. And then we had Quinn Ewers answering, scoring a touchdown right back. And then second quarter, we had Washington Husky, I think, going up. I guess them scoring a touchdown, them just going off against the Texas defense. Texas defense was not able to stop Michael Penix Jr. at all. So them just having their way. We see Michael Penix Jr. 29 for 38 for 430 yards and 2 touchdowns. So him just slinging it nonstop. But could not stop them. Could not get that ball back. But Washington Huskies scoring going up 14-7. Texas punting the ball. Washington player muffing the kick. Texas gets the ball within the 20. They punch it in. So Washington making the first mistake to make it a tie game. It was very, very crazy matchup. And then Washington going down the field again, driving, doing their thing, scoring. And then we had Texas answering late to go into halftime. So going into halftime, 21-21, looking like a crazy game. I don't think we had seen a high-scoring matchup like that since Ohio State, Georgia. I think it was either last year or year before. So a lot of points being scored, not much defense being played. But third quarter, Washington just coming out, just going crazy, scoring a touchdown on their first drive. They got the ball first, and then kicking a field goal. Texas starting behind the sticks most of the time. Them getting sacked, getting penalties, them just killing themselves, starting drives and having to try and convert third and longs pretty often. Their running game was going off between Baxter and Blue. They were having a great game. But going into the fourth quarter, I don't know. I guess Washington kicks 2 field goals. But Texas defense finally kind of holding them to 2 field goals. Texas scoring, giving the ball to A.D. Mitchell. A.D. Mitchell getting frustrated, saying he wants the ball, then throwing it to the corner of the end zone. He gets his ball. And then Texas driving down the field again with like 2 minutes left. Goes to 4th and 4, and they need quick points. They're down by 10, or they're down by 9. So they had to score points anyways. They put up the field goal, get them within 6 points. Onside kick. Washington recovers. It looks like it's over. There's a minute left. Texas still has 2 timeouts, but with a minute left, Washington runs the ball. They get a 3 and out, but they would have been able to run the clock out till about 10 to 20 seconds left on the game clock. But Washington Huskies running back, who was having some injury struggles throughout the game, gets hurt on 3rd down when they rush. And so that stops the clock. Texas Longhorns were out of timeouts, so this clock would have ran until probably about 10-15 seconds. But the play clock stops at 50 seconds because of a hurt player. And Texas Longhorns get the ball back with 45 seconds on the clock with hope. They have hope. There was a chance. They went from 0 chance to, hey, Texas is going to be driving down this field and potentially having a chance at least to take the lead and win this game. Quinn Ewers with a bomb to Jordan Whittington down the field for probably 50 yards, gets the completion, and then very next play to Blue, getting a monster 15, probably 20 yards on the play, them having to review it, him barely keeping possession of it, and them getting down to what looks like the 13-yard line. And then we see on 1st and 10, we have, with 15 seconds left, we have 3 shots at the end zone, is what it looks like. It looks like we're going to have 5 seconds for each play. Bad play call. Dump off to Blue. No yards. Gets out of bounds. Thank the Lord. If he didn't get out of bounds, game would have been over. No timeouts left. Next play, we chunk it up to A.D. Mitchell, it looked like. A.D. Mitchell gets denied in the corner of the end zone, 1-on-1. Third play, you have Washington Huskies bringing pressure. Quinn Ewers barely getting the ball off, and them just having to dump it off. It looked like the end of the game. It looked like that was it. Everybody going. I mean, I am just mad. I streamed this last night. Streamed my live reactions. You see me just go from just being defeated to having a chance and being full of life, and then just getting my heart ripped out. So doesn't complete the pass, and then, hey, refs get together. They're like, there's 1 second on the play call or on the play clock. So 4th down, the game on the line, 1 second left in the end. 1 second left. We have another throw to the end zone to A.D. Mitchell, and he gets denied on a one-on-one ball. So, Washington Huskies, number 2 team in the nation, the undefeated Washington Huskies, advance in the college football and take down my Texas Longhorns. You hate to see it. I was very upset, spiking my hat, throwing things, throwing a temper tantrum like any real fan should do. But my Texas Longhorns are out of the college football playoff. But high hopes for this next season. Quinn Ewers coming back. I think the 3rd best recruiting class in the nation. So, Texas Longhorns will be a problem this next year. We're losing Xavier Worthy and A.D. Mitchell, and I'm sure some other players, but still some incredible playmakers staying. We have some incredible playmakers as backups and an amazing recruiting class. So Texas Longhorns should look to be in that top 12 this next year and play hopefully for a chance at another national championship game. But when the last ever college football semifinals, Texas Longhorns make it. But the 12-1 Longhorns are down and they are out. They are out. So, Washington Huskies and Michigan Wolverines, the only 2 undefeated teams in the college football playoff, advance to the finals and stay undefeated. We had Quinn Ewers, 24 for 43, 318 yards and a touchdown, compared to Michael Penix's monster of a game, 29 for 38, 430 yards and 2 touchdowns. We had Baxter, 9 carries, 64 yards and a touchdown, compared to Johnson, who got hurt at the end of that game, with 21 carries, 49 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Sanders with 6 receptions, 75 yards. The tight end, actually, compared to Rome Odunze, with 6 receptions and 125 yards. So the Washington receiving corps definitely having a better game than the Texas Longhorns receiving corps. It seemed like Xavier Worthy and A.D. Mitchell weren't really targeted very much, so they were completely taken out of the game. So good stuff by Washington, but run game for Texas was amazing. So you hate to see it. It's a heartbreaker, but good luck to the Washington Huskies. What is cool is this next game for the national championship, we will have the Washington Huskies on the 8th taking on the Michigan Wolverines, both undefeated programs. Michigan's schedule this next year, they have, I'm pretty sure, the Washington Huskies in week 6. So this college football national championship game, we will see a rematch in the 6th week of this 2024-2025 season. So that will be cool stuff. Whoever wins this, they will get to face off and get a rematch. It won't be for the Natty, but we will see how they fare and how they match up again. I would imagine Michael Penix goes to the draft. J.J. McCarthy, I'm not too sure. I think he would declare for the draft. But we will have this national championship game at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. Looks like Michigan are the early favorites, minus 4.5. The over-under, 55.5. It looks like this is going to be a high-scoring game. But we will see this on the 8th, which will be, this next Monday or something? I think so. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see if we can. Let's see. The 8th will be, yes, this next Monday. So we will talk about it Monday on our Bandwagon Monday show next week. We will go over this. We will give our picks. We'll see if these, if the line and the spread or if the spread and the over-under change at all. Should be a very interesting one. But that will do it for our college football action. We have a bunch of NFL games that also happen this weekend. We had our Thursday night football matchup. We had a Saturday night football matchup, and then we had a ton of really good Sunday games. Thursday night, we had the Browns taking on the Jets. The Browns are absolutely hot. We gave our wagon of the week pick on this one, and we took Browns by I think minus 14 or something. So Browns cover. I probably took the over too. But Browns win this one. Destroy the Jets. Trevor Siemian, though, coming in, having a decent game. Breece Hall having another great game. But Joe Flacco and these Browns, they are just looking almost dominant compared to all these teams. So they could be a very, very scary AFC team to face in the playoffs. Joe Flacco with 309 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Njoku with 6 receptions, 134 yards. And then I think Ford with 2 touchdowns as well. So Joe Flacco and these Browns looking scary. With them getting it done. We have Dallas Cowboys. I think they were the favorite by minus 3 or something, facing against the Lions. My Dallas Cowboys beat the Lions and retake the number 1 spot in the NFC East and are now the number 2 team in the NFC. With this victory, Cowboys also advancing to 8-0 at home. So this is a monster. If they can win this week against the Washington Commanders, they will secure the number 1 seed in the NFC East and will get a bye. Will get a home game, their first game, which is monster. And I guess the next game after that, if they advance. So this is huge because they are not a very good away team. They are not a good team on grass. So to play at home, this was a must-win right here. The Cowboys 11-5 now, 8-0 at home, taking down the Lions. Lions, it looked like they were down and out in the fourth quarter. Lions coming in on a game-winning drive, or what looked like it would be a game-tying drive, scoring a late touchdown with probably less than a minute left. And Lions, Dan Campbell decide to go for 2. First time that they went for 2. Throw it to a lineman, catches it. Lions go up 21-20 with 30 seconds left. Them doing it. But no. Flag on the play. One of the linemen did not go up to the official and say that, hey, I'm an eligible receiver. But after further review, we saw him running over to the ref saying that, hey, I'm an eligible receiver, and also number 70 going over and saying that, hey, I'm an eligible receiver, whatever, something like that. But ref getting it wrong, saying the number 70 was the eligible receiver, something like that. Huge controversy. Dan Campbell is furious. So there's a flag on the play. They redo it. They back them up 5 yards. You think, hey, Lions, okay, after that, they're going to kick a field goal. We're going to go into overtime. But no, Lions go for it again on the 7-yard line. Don't get it. But we have Micah Parsons offsides, jumping early. So Lions move up to the 2-yard line yet again. And Lions getting their 3rd opportunity at a 2-point conversion. But on this attempt, Jared Goff throws it out to the left side pylon, and he throws a bad ball, and the Detroit Lions drop it, and Cowboys end up holding off and winning this game 20-19 and retaking the number 1 seed in the NFC East. But they needed some help. They didn't just need to win that. They needed some help. Because don't forget, they were 1 game behind the Eagles. So Massive controversy in this one, but Cowboys get it done, take down the Lions, and now are the number 2 team in the NFC East, them jumping above the Lions as well. So this is massive for them. But then we hop into our Sunday action. We have Bills Patriots. Bailey Zappi playing a very close game, giving the Bills a run for their money. But Bills getting it done. I think they still have a chance at their division. I think they have to win this next weekend. I think they're playing Miami. Let's see. Playing Miami. I'm pretty sure for the division. I could be completely wrong, but Bills turning it around mid-season, and they could take the division. Patriots already eliminated from playoffs, and then we see Falcons Bears. Justin Fields having a monster game, throwing on the feet, getting a rushing touchdown. He had 268 yards and a touchdown, taking down the Falcons. I think knocking the Falcons out of playoff contention. I don't know if they had a chance or not. But Bears, this was a cool game. You had the Chicago fans chanting, "We want Justin Fields." So them telling their franchise, we do not, with the number 1 overall pick, we do not want to go get another quarterback. We do not want Caleb Williams. We do not want to start over. We want to stick with Justin Fields. So cool stuff there. But we'll see what they do. We'll see how they fare. I mean, ending the season 7-9, second year, is not too bad. They had a rough start to the year. Justin Fields coming out and being like, "Hey, they're making this offense way too complicated for me. Just let me do it with my feet. Let me just make plays." And them turning it around and actually playing some decent ball, getting some pretty big wins. Also some very bad losses, but them taking down the Falcons. This was a snow game. This was a fun one to watch. Watch this whole game. But Bears advancing to 7-9. I think both these teams out of playoffs. Raiders, Colts advancing to 9-7. I think have a chance for playoffs if they win their next game. But eliminating Raiders from playoffs, winning this game at home, 23-20, taking down old Aiden O'Connell and those Raiders. Some good stuff from old Gardner Minshew. And then we have the Los Angeles Rams taking down the Giants. I think also clinching a spot in playoffs. But with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback for the Giants, him giving them a run for their money, and Rams winning it just barely by 1 point. But Kyron Williams, another monster performance, 20 carries, 87 yards, 3 touchdowns. Wow. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor for 319 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And then Puka Nacua, 5 receptions, 118 yards. So some monster performances in this one. But the Rams keeping their streak going, and they are playing some crazy good football right now. So Rams, a scary one to play in playoffs. I think they are taking on... Who are they taking on? The Niners to end the season, but both teams have clinched. And 49ers have clinched that number 1 seed and clinched their division. So that's already done. And then we have, I told you Cowboys needed some help. Eagles lose to Cardinals. Cardinals have a game-winning drive at the end of the game with a minute left. And Kyler Murray, James Conner, Greg Dortch having a monster of a game. Kyler Murray, 3 touchdowns through the air, 232 yards, 1 interception. James Conner, 26 carries. They just handed it to him the whole game. 128 yards and a touchdown. Greg Dortch, 7 receptions, 82 yards. So just monsters of a game right here. The Cardinals taking down the Eagles at home. And with this loss for the Eagles, this put the Cowboys, with their win, over the Eagles. So, Cowboys now number 1 team. Cowboys are going to have to drop their next game to the Commanders, and Eagles are going to have to beat the Giants to get that number one seed in the NFC East. Um, so it doesn't seem likely, but Cowboys really needed this. This was massive. Eagles are 1-4 in December, and they are playing some awful ball these last few weeks. So Eagles really gonna have to turn it around. Really gonna have to figure it out. Usually you want that hot streak going into playoffs, but Eagles are really going to have to turn around and figure this out if they want another chance at a Super Bowl. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen at this point. Saints, Buccaneers. Saints take down the Buccaneers. And Buccaneers, number one team in their conference. I think they need a win. I think they're already clinched playoffs or something. I'm not sure what the situation is. I think with a win, though, they win their division and they win. They win. Who's in their division? Okay, so here we are. So, if New Orleans beats Tampa Bay, New Orleans might win this division. Atlanta had a chance at the division, but lost to the Chicago Bears. So, New Orleans has a chance. If New Orleans wins this game, they clinch the division against Tampa Bay in the NFC South, and will get a bye first round, or not a bye. They will get home field advantage with a 9-8 record. So this this was a statement game right here for the Saints. So Bucks are gonna have to win this next game to remain in that number one spot in their division. Let's see who the Saints play. The Saints will play the Falcons. Should be not an easy one, but should get it done, especially if they want to win their division. And then Bucks. Who do they have? The Panthers. So all the Bucks have to do this next week is take down the Panthers, which should be easy. They're the 2-14 Panthers. They are the worst team in the NFL. The Saints going to have to take down the Falcons, and they are going to need Bucks to lose. So even with a win over the Bucks in their division, it still isn't enough. Baker Mayfield, 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Wow. Moving on, we got Commanders with Jacoby Brissett playing a decent game in the beginning, keeping it somewhat close, but 49ers win this one 27-10. Brock Purdy, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns. Elijah Mitchell having a better game than all Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey for the fantasy football finals not playing a crazy game, so a lot of people mad over that. But Elijah Mitchell, 17 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown. Brandon Ayuk, 7 receptions, 114 yards and a touchdown. Wow. But they take down the Commanders. Commanders only scoring 10 points in the second quarter. And then Jaguars shutting out the Panthers 26-0 with old C.J. Beathard. He threw 178 yards. Travis Etienne having a monster game, 16 carries for 102 yards, 2 touchdowns. Evan Ingram, 6 receptions, 60 yards. So, Trevor Lawrence not playing a game, I think for the first time maybe ever. Could be wrong, but not playing a game. And let's see, Jaguars advancing to 9-7, maybe have a chance at playoffs. Could be wrong, but hey, Jags, who's in their division? They are the number one team in their division right now. So wow, they are going to have to beat the Tennessee Titans, and Indianapolis is going to have to beat the Texans. Ooh, with C.J. Stroud back, that could be a tough one for the Indianapolis Colts. But Colts are going to need, oh my gosh, Houston in contention as well. So while Houston is going to have to beat the Colts, and they're going to need Jacksonville to lose to the Titans in order to make playoffs, Indianapolis is going to have to beat Houston, and Jacksonville is going to have to lose to get that number one seed. And Jacksonville has to beat the Tennessee Titans with a backup quarterback, most likely, to clinch that division. Dolphins taking on the Ravens. Very surprising game right here. But Ravens destroying yet again another top team. Them rolling over the 49ers as we saw for Christmas, and then them taking down the Dolphins 56-19. Lamar Jackson 321 yards, 5 touchdowns. I mean, Dolphins just did not have an answer for this Ravens offense. Zay Flowers 3 receptions, 106 yards and a touchdown. Him having a monster 75-yard touchdown. And then I think Likely too. We saw Isaiah Likely with 2 touchdowns. Let's see here. Isaiah Likely, 2 receptions for 2 touchdowns. I had Zay Flowers and Isaiah Likely in my fantasy, so that was good for me. But Gus Edwards, 16 carries, 68 yards and a touchdown. Miami just did not have an answer for the Baltimore Ravens. We had Tyreek Hill, 6 receptions for 76 yards. Tyreek just not doing enough in these last few games and getting hurt to beat that record. He has 1 game left. He's going to have to do an Amari Cooper game and get 265 yards, I think, to break the record, which is very unlikely. But hey, with the last game, we could see Tua trying to get him that record. Who does Miami have next? They have the Bills. Oof. So this will be for the division title, as we just talked about. Wow. So Miami clinch the division if they beat the Bills. The Bills will clinch the division if they beat Miami. So big game for the last game going into playoffs. That will be a fun one to watch. But Miami coming off a monster loss. Bills barely pulling it off against a very shitty team. Who knows who wins that one? Titans, Texans. You have C.J. Stroud back, winning this one pretty easily, 26-3. I guess Ryan Tannehill is probably quarterback for the Titans. I think they took Will Levis out after an interception or 2. I think Will Levis actually had 3 interceptions. But C.J. Stroud, 216 yards and a touchdown. Devin Singletary having 16 carries and 80 yards. Nico Collins, 7 receptions for 80 yards, winning pretty handedly and giving them a chance, if they beat Indianapolis Colts this next week, to clinch their division if all Jacksonville Jaguars lose. So, Texans getting C.J. Stroud back at the right moment. But hey, Case Keenum probably could have got the job done too. But good to see him back out of concussion protocol. Steelers beat the Seahawks and score another 30 points. So Mason Rudolph in this offense, he's just been a spark in this offense. They've scored back-to-back 30-point games. So Mason Rudolph and this Steelers team. Najee Harris having 27 carries, 122 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Wow. Pickens, 7 receptions, 131 yards, shutting everyone up. So him playing some good ball. I don't know if he's blocking or if he's buying into this team now. But Steelers should have a chance to win their division. No, they do not. Wow, they're the 3rd team in their division. So they will be taking on the Baltimore Ravens. But them advancing to 9-7. Mike Tomlin, as we talked about, has not had a losing season as a head coach, and this was a big win over the Seattle Seahawks to secure a winning season and make them 9-7. So good stuff there. We talked about he needed to win either against the Seahawks or Baltimore, which Seahawks would definitely be a lot easier to have that winning season. So good job for Mike Tomlin and Steelers. They should maybe make playoffs. I think they still have a chance. Wouldn't count them out. Seahawks going to 8-8. I don't know how they fare. They probably maybe will make playoffs. They're number 3 in their division, and they play the old Arizona Cardinals this next week. So I don't know if they have a chance or not, or if they are eliminated. But Moving on, we got Chargers and Broncos. Jarrett Stidham replacing Russell Wilson, as we talked about. This was huge controversy, them saying, hey, we need a new spark in our offense. But in reality, they just did not want Russell Wilson to get hurt. And actually, there's new stuff coming out that, hey, they told him after a game that, hey, we're going to have to renegotiate this contract because you will not be the starting guy moving forward. So they knew about it. This was not needing a new spark in the offense. This was them knowing that, hey, Russell Wilson is not going to be their guy, their franchise quarterback, and they need to make sure that they are not giving him $37 million if he is unable to play this next year. So Jarrett Stidham coming in, 224 yards and a touchdown, doing just enough to get the job done. Chargers having nothing on offense, just kicking 3 field goals. So Broncos winning, but massive controversy. Who will we see old Russell Wilson playing for this next season? Maybe the Commanders. Who knows? And then we got Bengals Chiefs. Bengals, close game right here, but Chiefs turning it up in the third and fourth quarter and securing the victory over the Bengals. This was a fun one to watch. Very chippy. These two teams have become rivals. But Patrick Mahomes, 245 yards and a touchdown. Pacheco, 18 carries for 130 yards. Rashid Rice, 5 receptions, 127 yards. But Chiefs clinch AFC West after holding off the Bengals in the final minutes. So this one was an electric performance as well. And then we had the Packers taking on the Vikings for our Sunday night football matchup. This was New Year's Eve game. So Packers destroying the Vikings 33-10. Jordan Love throwing 3 touchdowns for 256 yards. Aaron Jones, 20 carries, 120 yards. And Melton, 6 receptions, 105 yards and a touchdown. So old Jalen Reed also with 2 touchdowns in this performance right here. But Green Bay Packers, let's see, they play the Bears next week. They might have a chance at playoffs. They could be eliminated. I am not sure. But they will play the Bears this next week. So that's going to do it for our NFL games that happened this past weekend. So we had college football bowl games. We had college football semifinals. We get to see who is going to face off in the national championship game, and we went over all of these amazing games that happened in the NFL this past weekend. We talked about, hey, I got to go to that Ole Miss Penn State game. That was a blast. I'm sure if you saw my story, you saw that I was there. But cool stuff there. Ole Miss winning their first bowl game in like 8 years. We got to see Texas State earlier this week win their first ever bowl game. We got to see Texas losing their first ever college football semifinal. And we got to see Michigan make their first ever national championship game with the college football semifinal era. So, a lot of stuff happening. We can kind of touch on a few news over here before we go ahead and get out of here. Start this over real quick. But Michael Penix Jr., last 2 FBS quarterbacks to throw for 4,500 yards plus in consecutive seasons. Patrick Mahomes and Michael Penix Jr. So, Michael Penix Jr. slanging the ball. Cool stuff there. The matchup for the college football national championship will be between 2 future Big Ten teams. So, Washington joining the Big Ten this next year. So, this could... this is cool stuff. We'll see them playing this next year. As we said, in week 6, they will be playing each other. Got a cool scene at the Rose Bowl with them splitting the field, just like the Red River rivalry, right down the middle at the 50-yard line. This was really cool. It looks like actually Michigan had a little more of that section. So cool stuff there. We saw Jalen Milroe and the emotions after a game, him not getting into the end zone, him being very upset. Jalen Milroe will be the number one candidate for the early Heisman race for this next year. So he will do great things just his first year playing for Alabama. Let's see, Blake Corum, we got to see him running in. Look at this big old jump cut. Boom! Him just jumping across the field right here. And this was, I think, to score and go up in OT. So, cool stuff there. Amazing running back he is. We have Dallas Turner declaring for the draft now. One of Alabama's best players, should be a a first round pick. This was the end of the game. We had A.D. Mitchell going up, high pointing the ball, mossing on Elijah Jackson, and then Elijah Jackson getting the last laugh and swatting the last ball in the game away. So cool stuff there. Alabama's offensive line, that we saw them walking along the Michigan sideline before the game started, and then them coming out and allowing 5 sacks in that first half. So tried to do some intimidation, didn't work. But cool stuff there. We have the new UFL. So we have a bunch of XFL teams coming into the UFL. So we have multiple teams joining. We will see a new UFL. Looks like kind of a merger between XFL, UFL, to make that a thing. So looks like, I wouldn't call it semi-pro. It is professional football, but it is a division under the NFL. So cool to see that in the United States, giving some more of these college athletes a chance at showing that, hey, they are still a top player and do deserve a chance in the NFL. Let's see here. Steve Sarkisian, a cool story about how he could have died. Cool story on College Game Day. Iowa, as we talked about, their punter breaks FBS record for most punt yards in a season. So just cool stuff happening. So this was our last week in fantasy football. So we're just gonna end it off with these last 2 funny clips. We got Fantasy Football Press Conference Championship Edition. Imagine if we were popping bottles, had trophies for the Fantasy Football Championships. That would be just the sickest thing. But we're going to send it off with old Kirk Cousins he's leading the Skol chant in Minnesota. So they do this tradition before every game. But it's cool to see Kirk Cousins with a big old chain on, and seeing his son do it too, ripping his shirt off. So hopefully they get old Kirk Cousins back this next year. Hopefully they don't do away with him or whatever that situation is. But we just want to wish you a happy New Year's. And this will be an amazing 2024. I hope that we get a bunch of viewers tuning in and joining and what I hope for this channel is that we have people commenting, giving me topics to touch on, giving me topics to talk about, so that I can give my opinion on them. Maybe y'all have differing opinions than what I am. This is Bandwagon Sports, so I am a bandwagoner. I hop on the bandwagon. I hop and ride some of these teams that, hey, maybe I shouldn't be, but I just love it, and I think everyone does. So hopefully we can get some topics flowing, and we can bounce ideas around. But That is what I hope for this 2024. We will be streaming every day, Monday through Friday, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We're going to be hitting it hard this 2024. We're going to be growing rapidly. I already know it. We're going to get some bandwagoners here in the chat. But I wish you a happy new year and a happy 2024. Let's kill it this year. Let's do our thing. But I am your host, Cade Navarro. And this is Bandwagon Sports. And we are going to sign out on our first ever Bandwagon Sports 2024 stream. So, thank y'all for tuning in. We will get some clips up for you. And we will see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. sharp, hitting it hard, going over what happened in sports for tonight. And yeah, that will be it for us. Thank y'all for tuning in. Peace out. Peace out. Have a good one. Have a good day. See ya. Bye.